Welcome back to another episode of Natural State Run Club. We are here with the biking gang now. You watched a little bit of the recap from the 50K. If you haven't seen that yet, go back 1 week and you can catch up on the 50K festivities. Today we're going to talk about the bike, and all five of us, we're missing Jesus, unfortunately. He was also biking with us that weekend. He did the 50 mile. Couple of us, it was our first bike ride race. Was that your first race?
Yeah, first one ever.
Yeah, it was also mine. Four of us. It was the first time we ever did Mid-South too. Watched Catherine do it. She's the lone veteran in the group. We're going to start off with just what did y'all think? What did you think about the race? Did you like it? Give us some highs and lows. So whoever wants to go first.
Obviously, it's my first bike race ever, which is very intimidating because it is gravel, so it's a little more difficult, or I think it's more difficult than road. But I loved it. I had a great time. I was very nervous because I did crash about a month before, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it, but everyone that I was with, we just had a good time. We just took party pace and enjoyed ourselves, and I think, that really helped me, just staying together, just having fun, talking to people. So I loved it. I highly recommend if you're doing a ride, your first ride, it should be there. The environment is just so fun. Everybody is so positive and encouraging.
Great you're able to rally too after a crash to
Yeah,
get back on
I
and be like,
mean-
yeah, I'll ride 100 miles now.
Yeah, I will say it. The most I ever did was 54, our 54 ride. And so I was like, I hit my mileage past my max mileage ever, halfway into the race. I'm like, ugh. But I did it.
Dawson?
I had a good time. it was pretty fun. No, I'll say that watching the hype videos and everything for the race kind of gave me an idea of what the culture would be like there, and I still don't think it fully prepared me for just the energy of being there. I mean, it was really cool. Bobby was a lot of fun. The booths that they had set up were really fun. Listening to Bobby's band play, just all of that stuff was just kind of weird, but also just made it very unique. I really enjoyed that. I liked riding with all of y'all. I think that made it a lot more fun.
Yeah.
The pace was, I think it was a bit slower than maybe I would have gone by myself, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I probably would have killed myself. I have a hard time taking it easy when I'm riding by myself, and I probably would have got burnt out too quickly. So I think that was also a plus.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had a great time. I was a little bit worried about her because of the crash, but she did great. So couldn't have gone better.
Catherine?
Overall, I think the race is great. I really love this event in particular, and I think a century is such a fun milestone and challenge to hit, which makes it a really fun event. And again, I said this in the 50K video as well, but this event is so cool because they celebrate all of the finishers.
Sorry, that's our bird clock, if you hear that. Thanks, Michelle.
I love it.
That's awesome.
No, so it's they celebrate every finisher, which is so cool, and I think that I see a lot of events that half of the race setup is taken down by the time you get there. Aid stations are closed, and that's really hard. And I think it's a lot of fun that they celebrate the last finisher. I think it's fun that the whole event is community based, music all day long. The vendors are out for everyone. There's a lot of community support around it, which makes it a really fun time. And it's also the first, gravel opener of the season. So, there's a bunch of pros there. It's all kind of a fun vibe.
Interesting. I did not know that was the first race of the season for them. That's really cool. What an epic race for that.
Right. Cool. Way to start off the season.
Yeah.
Oh, what did I think of the race? I mean, like all of y'all said, I thought it was just a super fun atmosphere and environment. The people riding, the people spectating, the Mid-South event team just do such a good job, and all of that was so much fun. And then as compared to, so Dawson and I had done a century 6 months before on road, and it's just wildly different vibes. A road century versus at least this one. Obviously I don't have a whole lot to compare to, but very much more chill, much more like community oriented, and kind of like what you were saying. As I was hitting the last aid stations at that race, they were like shutting it down, cutting people off, and I wasn't going super fast, but I wasn't going like all that slow either. And so to know that you could go at the pace that you wanted, and that, the intent that Bobby talked about is that he, wanted you to challenge yourself. That may not be fast enough at some other races. So it's nice to be able to do that. I had a great time. I don't know that I love the century distance, but the race itself, absolutely no complaints.
Probably my biggest highlight was riding with y'all. If you haven't watched the video, go back and watch the recap of that, because I did crash like right before halfway point. That was a little brutal. Still got some pretty nice scars that'll take forever from the Mid-South. I've said it before to a lot of people. I don't think I would have gotten back up on the bike if it wasn't for y'all. Like, just the camaraderie, just between our group as well as like the community as a whole, was just like, I can push through this, and I can, if nothing's majorly broken, major issues, anything, you can push, you can do it too. So that was really cool to see. This was also my first bike race too. I'm usually running, so road running versus trail running the communities are very, very different. It's very apparent it's still the same way, road versus gravel here too. Like the party, like that first aid station, we did like scratcheritas and slip and slide like that. We need those at road races. That'd be amazing.
Exactly.
So it's hard not to love the event that is the Mid-South. I thought the 100-mile distance was challenging. I think after mile 70 or so, I just started feeling like this is hard. This is getting tough now.
Yeah.
Hour 8 or 9 or whatever we were out there for. So.
Honestly, 10.
Yeah.
What was 11:40? I think was our time.
Yeah. Overall, awesome vibes from the Mid-South. What's something that you thought went well for you during that ride? I know we had very different nutrition plans or training plans, things like that. So for you yourself individually, what do you think worked well for you?
I'm gonna say my bike, because I still it was still hard, and I mean I probably could have. I don't know if I was great with my nutrition. I think I was on top of it enough to where I didn't feel horrible, but I did get foot cramps at one point, and I just had to down some electrolyte stuff. But my bike did great. I feel like there were definitely some issues in the group, and I was just very, very happy that nothing happened with mine. So I think that's what worked well for me, was my bike. It was
Nice.
good.
Yeah, I feel like training wise, we didn't do as much as we probably should have.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
my elbow.
it's her fault, really. For pushing it is the problem.
You
No.
did do more. You did more than me.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but
Yeah.
still, I feel like that was something I was a little bit worried about that ended up being fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that went more well than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Just my overall feeling of being on the bike for that long.
I think what went well was the first half was awesome, and I think it was we were really good on nutrition, or I felt like I was really good on nutrition. The aid stations just hit different in the first half, and I think the scratcherita really did go well. I think that was it. I think it was good for me through the first half for sure, and so that was a lot of fun, and I think that went well.
Yeah.
I think technically I used one of Kathleen's coworkers' bike bag. It was a half bag, and I really liked it. So definitely would get one of those if I was doing a lot more biking. Not technically, I started picking up nutrition that people had dropped, and it was mostly just fun because we were watching out for nutrition that was on the ground, and Dawson would be 200 meters ahead and be screaming back, it's there's one on the ground, and then I'd stop and pick it up.
And you ate?
Yeah.
I
ate
did.
one.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't very good.
All of us
No,
ate
wait,
one
Yeah.
at the first aid station.
Right.
And then I kept eating stuff I found. I still have like I have like 4 or 5 gels. I just like at Bentonville half I drank the Tailwind from Mid-South. Like it's been great.
Oh,
It's amazing how much
So-
like trash or like people just like as they're getting stuff out of their bags, it like fell on the ground.
Yeah, and that's like pieces of trash I picked up and free nutrition that I got.
yeah.
Double win. So that was something that was like silly since we weren't trying to go super fast.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
was just a ridiculous thing that was fun.
Yeah.
So if you're not trying to, go super hard, lots of free nutrition out there.
Yeah. For
You
sure.
don't need to buy anything. You just go and try them.
Exactly.
Should do a race.
It'd be
Can
so
only
funny.
consume what you pick
Fine.
up or
Yeah.
kill.
Pushes someone off the
I
course.
was going to say, like, all these people are like, you're doing what?
For me, I think having the bag was like a game changer. Getting sort of a frame bag, I had one on the front end, one on the top tube. Having everything in there, there's so much more to biking as compared to running that you have to plan for. Tubes and
A whole
extra
lot.
CO2, a hand pump and all this kind of other stuff. It was just like, where am I going to put all this stuff? But that just, I think, gave me some confidence, and I can tackle anything that this race throws at us.
Yeah.
So I think that worked really well. We started getting into it a little bit, but talk about some highs and lows.
So yeah, I agree. First half of the ride was really good, really fun. I wasn't feeling too bad. I think maybe around mile 60, I was like, oh, this is maybe not as fun. But then I I think we had some issues and we did end up splitting a little bit. And I was on my own for, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 miles, and honestly that was a pretty big high for me because I was like, I'm doing this by myself, and it made me feel, it just it kind of gave me a second wind, I guess.
Yeah.
But then I was so happy whenever you guys came and found me. I was like, oh, I'm so glad they're here. But I think having that alone time for me to just think about just myself, it was kind of nice. But that also was kind of a low for other people I know because there are all kinds of things happening to your bikes. But for a low, yeah, my feet started cramping around that time, and I couldn't stay clipped in because of the angle my foot was at. So for probably about the last 40 miles, I stayed clipped out. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It was
I
that
was,
long.
yeah, and so that kind of sucked, but I think I just got used to it and it was fine. But I would rather not be clipped in and not have those cramps, and so that kind of sucked. The ending, yeah, the last 10 miles or something was super fun. We're so close. So that was a pretty big high when you're that close. Going through the campus was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It was a road, so off the gravel.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I feel like it's pretty good.
Your turn.
Okay. I would say one of my favorite moments from the ride was the single track at the end. I really enjoyed that. I think it was a good break from all of the just gravel roads, which those, you don't agree. But I don't know, I feel like I still had some juice left in the tank, and so I kind of just got to let loose a little bit and have some fun on the single track.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that part.
You were crushing that. You flew by me, but I was like, I don't know how to get up that hill, and you're just I was so impressed.
I've been riding a lot at Gregory too, just trying to get better at mountain biking. So I think it made me more comfortable in that section. So that was fun. Low, honestly, I didn't have a lot of lows, but maybe 5 miles after the first aid station when I was kind of soaking wet still from the slip and slide. And I kept my gloves on too, that was a mistake. That was a bad idea. So the hands were just pretty cold, and I was just waiting on everything to dry out.
no.
So it wasn't that bad, but yeah, it wasn't ideal. Still worth it though. I'd do it again.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
content.
Just
Would slip and slide.
take your gloves off.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Small changes.
My lows were more on the back half, which was opposite of my race experience the year before, because my first half last year was awful.
Yeah.
Vomited in the Narnia section, which was not fun the year before. But this year, I made it through. The Narnia section was so fun. And then past the halfway point, just kind of bonking a little bit, probably from the double, just like living off of Tailwind for like 24 hours is not ideal. Tailwind, I didn't think would taste bad. It did by about a mile or like hour, 20. It's not fun anymore. So that was like a low there. And then at mile like 75, my shifting stopped on my rear derailleur. And don't know why. I'm going to blame the red dirt. It was probably the red dirt. And so I had to convert to a single speed for the last 25 miles. Mind you, I don't ride single speed ever. And so that was not fun. So I was like struggling to convert it to a single speed, and then the red dirt Jeeps had like showed up, and they were like, "Oh, do you need help?" And I was like, "Please leave, otherwise I do want to get in that vehicle."
Oh, no. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they showed up and they were like, "We can follow you for a little bit," and I was like, "Please don't. I hate that." But I rode a single speed, and then like the back 25 miles had like really big sandy sections.
Oh,
The hills felt
yeah.
like
Gotcha.
huge.
Yeah.
Poor Caleb watched me through a lot of that, and that was not super fun. I maybe cried miles like 90 to 95 because it's like 10 miles is really far still.
Yeah.
It's like another, hour of riding. And I was like, I can't do this. I hate this. I was like, I hate bikes. I hate single speeds. I hate everything. And then Caleb's just sitting there like, do I say anything? You did it. It was good.
It's like I found another gel.
Oh my gosh.
I think I would have pushed him off his bike if that happened. But yeah, but we made it and we did finish
That's right.
Yeah.
on a single speed. And I told Bobby, I was like, "Bobby, I rode on a single speed." And he's like, "No way." And he's like, "Isn't it awesome?" And I said, "No, it's not."
You were wrong.
You were wrong. But
Highs and lows. I think for me, the first probably 65 miles in general, maybe 70 miles, were like pretty great all around, other than Kevin crashing. That was scary. But had a great time. I feel like we were just like cruising, not super fast, having a good time. And then about 70, I think I got a flat then.
Mm-hmm.
And mine was like, I think a really slow leak. So I could just, over the course of like 5 miles, I could just like watch my tire get flatter and flatter until finally I was like, I have to change this. And so that's not fun. Mechanical stuff always kind of sucks. And then, I don't know, maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I can never feel like with the hand pump that I can get it a very high PSI anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So then it feels like you're just kind of like sluggish that way.
Mm-hmm.
But that was, fine. We got there. It was, like Catherine said, there were times when I was with her in the last 25 miles, and I'm biking up a hill and I'm like, do I shift down? Like, am I rubbing it in her face that I have gears? Or is she going to be mad that I'm not using them? So,
he was in a no-win situation
Yeah.
there. And then I do remember Kevin rolling by us as I was like sitting on the ground, my bike's in front of me, and Kevin's like, "This doesn't happen while running," and then leaves. And I was like so angry at my chain at this point. I couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, freaking bikes, like they're the worst. They are the worst. And I was like, Kevin's right. Runners don't experience this.
No. It's a whole different animal trying to. And
Yeah.
if that happened to me, I would have no idea what to do. I probably would have gotten immediately in a Jeep. I got nothing, man. I'll walk this thing, sure. But it's that knowledge that you have to possess, which very impressed.
Yes.
On the side of the road, you like converted and then finished 25 miles.
that part was hard. And then we talked about it a little bit in the 50K video, but I had mouth surgery like 2 weeks before. The biggest thing that affected on the bike was in training, I was eating like Nutter Butters and like some solid food, and I just didn't really go there because it was like crunchy, like sharp things, and so I was afraid / was told I probably shouldn't do that, and so it was just a very tailwind heavy / like ground gels, and so very very like sweet day, and I just feel like by the end of it my stomach was so sick of sweet that it would have been nice to have more salty, but there wasn't a great way to do that. So yeah, not my favorite. Kind of unique to that time period and that race for me, but not a high.
The first half definitely was a high. I mean, despite the crash, we were pretty close still to the halfway point from that. Being able to get back up and then seeing everybody at the halfway point was like, oh, we made it. Also, I don't. You and I talked about it, but we were pretty stressed about not making the cutoff too.
Yeah, I forgot about
Most of the time, and I was just like, I hope they don't just like cut us off. Like, get to the halfway point and look happy. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
Like, fake
Nobody
it so they
cared.
don't take you off the course. So once we got there, I kind of like felt better about. But it's still a long way to go. You're like 52 miles left to ride. So I feel like the vibes of the first half of the race were awesome, and it was nice to be able to feed off other people's energies. Yeah. I don't know if you remember the lady at the water crossing. She was just like chatting. She's like, "Oh, I gotta get off my bike now," and it's bathroom break and wedgie picking time. What? That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just things that you don't normally hear or experience on like training rides or anything like that. So.
Gen Alpha slang.
Gen Alpha slang. We
Oh,
just talked a lot
yeah.
about Gen Alpha slang. How old was that kid?
He had to be like 10, I don't know.
Give some
He
backstory.
was,
Yeah, you gotta get the story now.
Okay, yeah, so we're biking along, and before that we were talking about Gen Alpha slang.
Yeah.
Just, like if people knew what certain terms meant. And then out of nowhere, this like 10-year-old kid is there on his mountain bike just chugging along, and I was like, hey, you're Gen Alpha, right? what do you know about these slang words? And so he gave us his 10-year-old definition, or at least what he thought they might mean.
Yeah.
There were a few good words. Skibbity, which we thought was squibbity before,
Yeah.
but it's not. He was like, I don't know what squibbity is. I know what skibbity is. We're like, okay, you know what I mean, kid. Just tell me what it means. And of course, he didn't know what it meant.
He was like, I don't know what it means, but I use it.
Yeah, he's like, I just say it. Yeah, so
He
that was
definitely thought
interesting.
we were old.
Oh yeah,
100%.
He was like, who are these old people?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh.
He was like, these boomers.
yeah,
Equivalent.
yeah. But that was interesting.
Yeah.
It was a nice little break from just riding.
So comment below your favorite Gen Alpha slang,
Right.
so that we can learn more about how to speak to the youngins.
Tell us who you think the Rizzler is.
Back end of the race, it like got really hot. We were out there for a long time, and I think just challenge that we were undertaking just kind of reamed its ugly head. It was like not reamed, it's reared its ugly head, and was like, this is about to get hard. This is the challenge part of the Century Ride. So there's a little bit of like, I had to talk to myself a bit when I was by myself trying to find you guys
Yeah.
after I had tease you both on my left. But it was nice to be able to be like, you can do this, you can do this. And I can go as slow or as fast as I wanted to. Like that was kind of nice, just for a little bit. But finding the two of you again was like, yes, got people to go through the rest of this with. I think hitting pavement was like such a blessing. I don't know. I felt the same way when we were doing the run too. I can turn my brain off a little bit more. So that was really nice. Weekend thoughts. So. We talked a little bit about it in the 50K video. We got a pretty large group to go out to Stillwater, and we all got like a really big Airbnb, and I think it was most of ours first times ever going to Stillwater or Mid-South. So what'd you think about the whole weekend, the event itself?
So yeah, weekend as a whole, I thought it was really fun. It was a really fun group that stayed at the house. It was a really cool house. It was lots of bedrooms, or lots of beds. And our first night though, I don't know what we were thinking, but it was really hot in our room. And so, but we figured it out. By the second night, was fine, which is like when we needed our sleep. But for Daniel, he had to sleep in the hut before his run. Krista making us food in the morning, amazing. So I'm very thankful for that. What else? Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was good just to be around people who were there to go through some crazy trials. So that was fun, bonding time and dinner. Stillwater as a whole. Yeah, the downtown area was really cute. Some really cool shops, and they had all kinds of booths and people to talk to. It was really cool. And our IHOP, we had IHOP, right? Our post-race IHOP. I was very tired of sweet stuff too. I'm still put off by any sort of electrolyte thing. I'm like, I don't want that. Please don't give me that. But that burger was amazing. I've never had an IHOP burger, but it was so good. And I just remember sitting there like, just to sit down and not be like hunched over. It's great.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a great picture of us sitting at IHOP like in the waiting area. We're just like, oh. But yeah, Stillwater was cool. I've never been. The campus was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. Cool.
What about you, Dustin?
Yeah, it was cool.
Sorry.
No, I'm just
Like, cool so much.
No,
I don't know
agree.
your words.
I agree though. I had a really good time and the group was a lot of fun. I think y'all probably had a bit of a different experience because you were racing both days.
True.
So we had, like, our first day was basically just like following y'all around and hanging out and having a little bit more of a chill time.
It was
Which-
so fun though.
Yeah, it was
Watching
very
guys.
fun.
Yeah.
Like getting to that like halfway-ish point and waiting, like had the drone out and everything.
Yeah.
It was fun, and we got to talk to some other people that were like waiting for other people they knew to run by and kind of meet some interesting folks.
The engagement?
Yeah, we were
Engagement?
sitting there with the people who were, I guess, the parents of the couple that got engaged.
Yes.
So we got to know all the behind the scenes that was about to happen, and
Yeah.
That's exciting.
that was a good time. It was a really good group. Everyone was very supportive and made it much more enjoyable than I think if it was just like you going out to do it by yourself. So
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
It was definitely a lot more fun with a group, and especially a group our size. I mean, there was 14 or 15 of us, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's something crazy, and so it was a lot of fun having that, but also just like the support on both ends for the run and the bike was nice to know that people would be there with like food and snacks that like we packed and could offer some moral support. And
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot goes unsaid for the support crews because they really do be doing a lot for the race teams, because like I think people don't realize is like we are racing 12 hours or like 10 or 11 hours, and it's like they just beep bop around and like hang out. And a lot of times you like hang out at the spot because you don't want to miss them in case they're going fast that day. Like you don't really know.
Yeah.
And so kudos to our support crews. They really did the work for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with all that. I don't feel like, other than maybe the outside of Stillwater, that I really experienced the city of Stillwater a whole lot. Because, collectively, those of us that did the double were, out and about for like 18 hours of our weekend. So, but that being said, this probably, outside of the race, was, I think, the most fun I've had, like, with a group of people going to a race collectively. And there's something to be said about shared suffering and shared time and meals and all of those things. So I had a really, really good time. I think we talked about it in the 50K video, but big stretch. But yeah, would highly recommend, for race events, doing something like that, because it definitely elevated the experience for me, even though we probably were less around those people than like even you guys, which is good and bad.
Like any race that we've done where there's more, like multiple groups of people, it's always been a blast. Even though, Eugene, I got sick and it was a terrible race, but I still had a really great trip. I think just part of that and hanging out with everybody makes it a really big boost. I really liked the couch, the chase.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was kind of exciting to finally hit. That aid station felt like it was forever though.
Yeah. You get on pavement for a little bit though.
You were on it, yeah. That was nice. I didn't real. I don't think I realized it was so far out though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The 250. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. It's a
Um,
big distance between us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that gap was huge.
Yeah.
I didn't love that.
Yeah, the chase salsa, they really figured that out. You gotta read the lore on it. It's awesome. Because it's like a 7-part story of how they've done this.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. Essentially, they like wanted to make gravel events more fun.
Okay.
And so they were like, let's just throw this chase in the middle of a road. Okay? And they were like,
Fun.
we're gonna set up a photographer there. People can be silly. And it started because I think 2 or 3 pro racers, they stopped. They decided collectively to stop together. They took a photo together and then kept racing.
Like as the lead racers?
As the lead
No way.
racers.
Wow.
And so like you'll even see stories too of, pro racers getting crap if they don't stop.
Ah.
Because
Like it
it's
doesn't
like
count.
a pivotal, yeah, it's so pivotal to the races now. But there's a full story online, so salsa, you gotta figure it out.
That's super cool.
I love my pictures.
Yeah.
So proud of myself.
Yeah. Next time we gotta get Harry the Heron on the chase. Just
Yeah.
add to the lore.
That's right.
Of
That
course.
is the Natural Sit Run Club app.
Like the whole thing with the.
Why?
Your back.
I think you could put time to like a pannier rack on the back of a bike,
Mm.
100%.
and he could definitely ride, and it'd be fun.
You mentioned it before. I think they do a really good job at keeping really everything open and everything engaged the whole time. I mean, the last finisher celebrations are really cool. They do it for the runner and they do it for the bike. But even when we were finishing them, there was still concerts going. Everybody was out, hanging out. It felt like everybody had more or less like stayed the entire time that we were out there. That was really cool. I'm really glad we finished before it got dark, because I realized afterwards that y'all had lights. I didn't have a light on my bike, and I was like, that would have been real bad. So I'm glad we made it before the sun went down.
We got sunset. It was so pretty.
The sunset was really nice, and just the gravel roads out in Stillwater. It was gorgeous. Just kind of
It
like looking
was.
around. And so
I forgot. Yeah, it was very pretty.
yeah.
Just look out in the field and then.
Yeah.
There's a couple of those sections.
Yeah, I feel like the last 5 gravel miles.
Yeah.
It
were rough.
was, yeah.
It would sneak out of nowhere.
Yeah.
We would just be like riding along, like about to crash.
And
It was intense.
I was surprised how pretty it was out there. Lots of rolling hills,
Yeah.
Mhm.
which is good and bad.
I felt like on the run there were portions where you could just see for miles, and I saw runners up ahead, and that got sort of like daunting. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be there eventually. I
Yeah.
never felt. I mean, there was rolling hills, but I don't know if there were sections where you could see for miles. I don't think. I don't feel like I remember that at all. But I mean, it like zigzagged so much
Mhm.
throughout the course too. So.
You're very cute.
Cute.
I know.
Let us know in the comment section if you want more dogs in the videos.
I do. I don't want more dogs.
In your life.
You can have your own dog in the video.
Ooh.
Comment below if Catherine should get a dog for the next video. Yeah, all right. Any closing remarks for the Mid-South?
Would y'all do it again next year? Or would you do just like the run or just the bike?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think I would do one or the other. I think I've gotten what I want out of Mid-South. Like, did the 100 mile, which was like my first century the year before, and then doing both, which was my first 50K, and then kind of stacking them together was good. It was just hard, and it's really hard to train for it, and it takes so much time to train for it.
Mhm.
I think that was my biggest complaint, and I didn't really know how to train for both, to be entirely honest, but I don't think any of us did.
Yeah.
But I focused on the run because that's what I wasn't really good at, and then I would do one or the other, The only exception, I would say that I would do it again, the double again, if I had someone that was like, I want a friend to ride with me the whole time, or run with me for both. That's the only exception. I'd be there for like moral support, but one or the other.
Yeah.
And probably lean more towards the run right now, honestly.
Still kind of hate bikes.
I am still angry at single speeds, and I have not washed my bike or changed it back, so. I'm a bad bike parent, it's fine.
Yeah, I'd probably do the run again, and I would do a ride. I don't think I would do the Century unless, like Catherine said, a friend was like really, really wanting to do that. But I just think I'm more of a runner than a biker. Like, it was really fun, and I felt the same way in our first Century, where it was a lot of fun for the first bit and not as much fun for the second bit.
I think the 50 miles is a sweet spot.
I do too. I think because
I
it
would
would
do
still be a challenge. Like,
Yeah.
it's not something that I personally could just off the couch, but I think it's not so long that you're just like sick of it. That's just me. And that's not Mid-South. That's just the distance.
I don't know if it's an equal comparison. I mean, one's road, one's gravel, but I mean, you both did Big Dam Bridge.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're both 100-ish miles, right? So how are there any comparisons? Anything you can draw from either of those races if you compare them?
It's just so different.
Yeah, they felt very different for me,
Probably.
and it was mainly just like speed because the road race, me and Adrian kind of just took off by ourselves and got in a group with some random people out of Memphis, and I mean we were going like 18-ish miles an hour like the whole time, so it just felt very different. Also because it was a road race, like everyone was very much like, I don't know, more serious about it. You know, like they weren't out there to have fun. Like you'd stop at the aid station for a pit stop, and then it's like, all right, let's get back in. A lot of like drafting, like a lot of focus on being efficient with your speed. So it just felt very different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, other than the distance, I don't know if there were a lot of other similarities.
Okay.
I would agree with that. I like gravel because there weren't cars that went by us, because it was
Oh,
still
yeah.
lots of like very close encounters with cars that I didn't love. So that part is way nicer, but the roads are way rougher. So
Yeah.
like,
You
you
can-
can't go as fast, or I can't go as fast.
Yeah.
Obviously, some people can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can't turn your brain off for sure with gravel. Because
Yeah.
I mean, there's ruts, and there's puddles, and there's tree limbs, and there's all kinds of stuff that could be.
Mhm.
But yeah, dogs. Yeah, country dogs. You gotta worry about those country dogs.
Yeah.
You know. I feel like we didn't have any. in
Not the
South.
city dogs.
Not
Not the city dogs.
He looks.
You're a
Not
city
you,
dog,
not
Barney.
you, city dog.
Excuse me.
There weren't any dog encounters. I didn't have any.
No.
Which was surprising, honestly.
Yeah.
There were a lot of houses we passed. I would do it again. I think I would bike again. I really liked it. And maybe if things went, if things hadn't gone as well for me, I would probably feel differently. So maybe I'll go next time and things will go bad and I'll be like, okay, never again. But right now I'm like, I would do it again. It was fun. I just don't crash again. I don't want to crash again at all.
It's a little bit of PTSD from that.
I do, yeah. We went biking a couple days ago, and even now, I'm just like, oh, I'm just so timid.
Yeah.
And even after riding 100 miles, I'm still timid, but it's okay. I can be timid. I can still do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about you, Dawson?
I would do it again too. I think, honestly, if my knee was ever better, which I hope that one day it is, and I was able to run
Yeah.
consistently, then I think I would probably try the double just because I would want to prove to myself that I could do it.
Yeah.
And y'all did it too, so I want to join the
You can
club.
definitely do it.
Yeah.
So maybe sometime
Us
in the
old
future.
geezers can do it.
Yeah.
I'll bike with you, and then one of them can run with you. Or all of them can run with you.
I would definitely do the run again. That's pretty consistently, like, always one of my favorite runs. Even though, like, we talked about how the back half of the run gets really difficult, but it's just a really fun route too.
Yeah.
And being out there is really enjoyable. I think I would do the double again. So if you ever want to send it, I kind of want to try it again.
Yeah.
A little bit of redemption story.
Yeah.
But I did think doing the double this time I missed out on a lot of Mid-South weekend festivities.
Yeah.
Like you said, we were out there for 17, 18 hours of the weekend, and by the time we made it back, it was everything was closed. So we went to IHOP. It's like, I would have liked to go to, I don't know,
Somewhere
The
local.
diner.
yeah, Eskimo Joe's or something like that. So not being able to take part in the weekend too is another factor. I wonder, can you pull he went and sit still in a little trolley behind you?
Oh,
I think he's
He would
good.
bounce a lot.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's
We
okay.
haven't
All the
heard
fluff.
from
He
is
would
what
probably
it's
run
for.
beside you
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
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 He doesn't
for
want to leave
sure.
our side.
Oh.
She's like, please stop. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
just gonna
I can't
lie
sit
down.
like this.
Perfect.
All right, yeah. Thanks so much for joining us on this Mid-South Gravel recap. If you like this video, or if you've got any other suggestions for what we can do for any recaps, put those down below. But until we see you in the next one, keep it natural.
Yeah.
Woo!